Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Alright, YouTubers, it's Mr.Mean. I gotta keep it down a little low tonight. The wife and the kid are in bed, and it's about 8, almost 9 o'clock. Supposed to have my RPG session tonight, but it canceled because a bunch of people couldn't make it, and so we just called it. So I wanted to still do a video or do something RPG related. I was gonna run Fantasy Age. I do have the hardback book. It's in the other room. When you bought it, at the time I bought this, I bought it from greenronin.com, and the cool part was you get the PDF with it for like an extra $5. So to me it was worth it because I wanted it now. I didn't want to wait for the book, so I just took it to work and printed it in black and white, which is perfect. It's all I needed, and I spiral bound it. So and of course I've got the GM screen, and I've also got the Fantasy Age Bestiary for you guys. I've done reviews on all of these products, I'm pretty sure, so you can always go on my YouTube channel, but this I'm focusing this video on the Fantasy Age group, and I'm going to post it there for you guys. I was flipping through this thinking of what I was going to run. I have this standard scenario that I run for like conventions and store demos when I run it, and Green Ronin's really great about if I run a demo, I ask them, they'll send me some stuff. It's really cool. It's been a while since I've actually asked them for anything, because I usually run Mutants and Masterminds, but I just haven't had, there's been so many other games that have caught my attention, and I've been running them. Those that follow my channel know I'm a huge Dark Eye fan. I'm a huge Torg fan, and so of course those both are coming off successful Kickstarters, and so they pretty much got all my attention. And also Modifius has their Star Trek, their Conan, Infinity, and Mutant Chronicles, which I actually own all of them, and I'm a huge fan of the game, the 2D20 game system, so I'm all over the place when it comes to gaming. But I was going through this tonight, prepping for my next game, and I ran across the Medusa in here, and I'm trying to find the page because I didn't bookmark it or anything, because that would be too much like right and professional, and we're anything but those two things. And of course I can't find it now. It's just going to make a liar out of me. And I'm going to keep looking for it because I will find it. There we go. It's page 110 in the core book, the Medusa. And I thought, wow, I had a great idea for a little mini, like a one-shot adventure, and I'm just throwing this up because it was too much to type, and see what you guys think about it. And I don't want to expand on it, I don't want to critique it, I'm just throwing it out there, and if anybody can find use for it, hey, great, run with it. But what I'm thinking is, normally most adventuring parties are 4 to 6 players, so I make level 1 PCs, and I give them all their gear, I give them decent gear, and then I run them out into the wild. And normally what we do for my standard convention game that I run is we do, for those of you that have ever played Dungeon World or any of the Apocalypse games or Worlds in Peril, we have a world building session for the first hour of the game. So what happens is I have pre-generated characters. I have 2 of each type. Like I have an elven mage and a human mage and a elven bowman, in a dwarf bowman or whatever. I've got eight or let's see, there's 3 classes: warrior, mage, and thief, and I make 2 of each, so I've got 6. And so what I'll do is I'll pass those around the table, let everybody pick their characters with, giving no preference or emphasis to whatever. It's just whatever people want to play, and they're genderless, so the people can choose if it's going to be a male or a female. And so then after they've made their characters, then what I do is I say, well, the world is Cinderil, that's the name of the world, and you're in a town called Ember, and that's the only information I throw out. And then what I do is I go to like the human character, because it's, in my scenario, it's a human settlement, and I say, you're from this settlement, tell me something unique about it, from your character's point of view. And while it puts the characters on the spot, it also gives them a sense of investment. So now they're just, a lot of people go to conventions and they want to play games that they've never played before. And so they'll choose, they'll go sign up for a game that they know nothing about. Well, the nice part about Fantasy Age is there's no preset world. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you want. You like the world of Warhammer? Play in the world of Warhammer. You like the world of Tolkien? Play in the world, play in Tolkien's world. Middle Earth. If you like Game of Thrones, play in the Game of Thrones world. Although Green Ronin makes a Game of Thrones, Song of Fire and Ice game, which is excellent, by the way, if you haven't tried it. But anyway, back to my point. And the point being that I get the players invested in the world, and we spend that hour going around the table. And so I'll go to the human mage, and I'll say, you're in the town of Ember. What's unique about Ember for you? And usually I have a blackboard, or I have a big grease board or something, or I have some player take notes, and they'll write it down, and they'll say, well, how does your player feel about orcs? Are they nasty in your village? Are they pariahs? Are they cast out? Are they attacked on sight or whatever? How does your village? What's the general consensus about orcs? And then I'll go to the next player and the next player and the next player, and then once we have that all established, and it's not just humans. There's a dwarf and an elf character in there as well. The dwarf comes from the deep mountains or the deep earth or whatever. Or I may not even throw that out. I might just say, where's the dwarfs from? Where's your dwarven clan home? Are they mountain dwarves? Are they underground? Are they like normal humans and live above ground? So the player is vested in the setting right off the get-go, because whatever they say goes. And then I give the only other piece of hard information I give them is Cinderella's. What was her name? It was Cinder. Cinder is the god of lies and deceit and death, goddess. And she's typically portrayed in the mortal world as a giant gold spider. Go. And what's neat is they'll start tossing things out. Well, the elves revere her, or the elves hate her, and the dwarves can't stand her even though she's underground, or whatever it may be. In the last session that I ran at Rice University at OwlCon back earlier this year, the female player that was playing the elf archer said that she was once revered but now despised by all elves because she turned her back on the elves and went after necromantic magic. So right there, man, I had a built-in gimme. I was like, oh, okay, so there's going to be undead in this. I didn't know before. I mean, pretty much I had an idea of what monsters I was going to throw at them, but as soon as she said, oh, she went toward necromancy and she was reviled by the other gods and blah blah blah, and of course my first question was, what other gods? She came up with some really cool answers, and so we wrote it down and we went through it. So we did this for about an hour. Every player got to say something about the world that was unique from their perspective, and then something that was unique about the village of Ember. So what I was thinking about for this one-shot game that I'm going to run at my game store for my normal Wednesday night group, because none of them have ever played Fantasy Age, was they're traveling adventurers. They come across this village named Ember, and the first thing they notice, I'm going to have them all make perception, checks, and you see that part of the sign is broken and gone. And they're going to, hopefully they'll look around, or maybe their checks will be high enough, or they'll get some stunt points and they'll figure it out. And they'll find the missing piece of the sign that says, young able-bodied men stay out. And of course, they're going to be like, what? And so what I'm thinking about, or what's turning in these gears up here, is it's a Medusa who obviously has been cursed by the gods. And she feels that she's, even in this cursed state, her mind is warped. And she has been plaguing this village for several years now. And basically she has absconded or required tribute from the village for their young able-bodied men to look on her and tell her how beautiful she is. And of course, most of them can't look at her without turning to stone. And of course, that in her eyes, that's proof that they don't find her beautiful, because in her mind, she's thinking, if I'm truly beautiful, this visage won't matter, and you should be able to gaze upon me. So your love is not pure. Now, of course, she's crazy, and, she's a Medusa. So her interpretation of love and what, the normal ideas of love are obviously 180 degrees polar opposites. And of course, she's cursed. So when she locks gaze with somebody, they got to make a check. And if they fail, they take 4d6 hit points. And if that reduces them to 0 hit points, they turn to stone. And I read that little, stunt part in there, and I went, ooh, this really sparked me. And so, and of course, when they get inside the village, they'll start noticing as they spend time in the village, and they'll have been on the road for a while, so they're going to need to replenish their supplies. The village people are going to be kind of cold and distant to them. They're not really going to welcome them with open arms. Basically, they don't want them there because every other able-bodied man that's come has been, absconded with. And so, of course, there's a lot of women, a lot of children that are, under the age of adulthood, and then a lot of old men, because she doesn't want an old man. She wants a young, strapping man. So there's no one probably above 16 or no one under no one above 16 and no one under 50. 45, 50. And so the players will recognize that. And then the other thing they'll come to notice is there's no mirrors. There's no reflective surfaces anywhere. So they'll go to the inn and they'll go, they'll rent some rooms or something. Begrudgingly, the townsfolk won't want them to stay. But I'm thinking of throwing in something like, with all the apprehension and the trepidation that the villagers have, there's probably some mandate from the Medusa that if any able-bodied men come in to the town, they're to let her know right away if she doesn't already know. Now, she has her spies. I'm thinking about maybe giving her a couple mage qualities, or maybe she has a scrying pool or something, magical item that she can use to scry on the town. And the only other odd thing I was going to put is I was going to put a statue in the middle of the town. And that statue will be vaguely reminiscent of her when she was a mortal woman, in her eyes, of what she looked like before she was turned into a Medusa. And because in her eyes, she still is that beautiful young woman. But of course, she's afflicted with, being a Medusa. And she's just cuckoo. And so, of course, it's a major threat for 4 to 6 first to fourth level PCs. It's considered a major threat. So it'll give them something, and she's obviously deadly with a bow, and she fights with 2 swords. So she gets, I think she gets 2 attacks per round with swords, because she's got two weapon fighting and everything. So, and I'll double check the rules. And like I said, I just came up with this off the top of my head tonight because my normal game got canceled, and I was going to run that normal scenario with the spider goddess Cindriel and everything. So that's my idea. I was just wondering what you guys think of it. And like I said, it was too much to type, and I didn't feel like typing it all up. And it's like I said, 9 o'clock, right at 9 o'clock, and I wasn't sleepy yet, but now my eyes are getting heavy, and I just thought, I'd get it off my chest and see what you guys think and how it sounds. And of course, depending on how the players role play it out, and I have a pretty good group. I got 5 players, and they're really good at role playing. They know I like, to engage the NPCs. So perhaps there'll be an old woman, or maybe she was the sister, or a cousin or something of the Medusa, 20, 30 years ago, and now she's kind of an old woman, but maybe she has a piece of mirror or something that she's been hiding for the right time. And of course, the village wants to be saved because they're tired of all their men, getting absconded with and turning into stone. And then, of course, the PCs will have to find her, which won't be hard. They'll just follow the statues, and then they'll find her. And, of course, they'll have the main encounter. But there'll be a little bit of role-playing. I think it'll be one of those things where she strikes from darkness, and, by the time they get there, it'll be night, and she'll talk to them, like in the I can't think of the name, but the one with Perseus, Clash of the Titans, when they go in and fight the Medusa, and she's talking, and everything. So she'll be throwing her voice from here and there, and we don't need mechanics for that. That's just a role playing, thing. and I think she'll verbally taunt them and tease them, basically, to kind of see how they do, and maybe I'll have them make a couple willpower checks or courage checks and see what happens there. But I'm kind of excited about it. I'm gonna actually put word to pad in at work tomorrow on my break. I'll type it up real quick, but I didn't want to type it all up tonight, in the G Plus forum. So I wanted to do this quick video. And just see what you guys thought, and if you think it's a cool idea, and if you have any maybe positive ideas. I'm not looking for negative critique or feedback. I just didn't want to type it all up, so just wanted to throw it out there. And if you guys think it's cool and you want to run with it, go for it. And if you do run it, please let me know how it turned out. Because any kind of feedback is always cool to see how other people interpret what you're doing. So it's pretty standard, but again, it's a one-shot adventure made to be played in like 4 hours, and you can stretch that out easily. Maybe have a couple wilderness encounters, a random, they get attacked by wild boars, because they're cutting through the woods, whatever. I mean, every GM is different, likes to do different things. So I think that's all I wanted to get across tonight, and just see what you guys thought about it. So if you guys haven't checked out, I'll put a link to this video will take you to my YouTube channel, because I'll post it to YouTube. But I've got a couple videos up there about Fantasy Age and other things. So feel free to take a gander, and if you like it, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Hit that like button and that notification button. It'll let you know when I post new videos. I try to post a video, at least one video every week. Today we're getting 2, because I did an RPG crate unboxing. And you can look at that video and see what my thoughts and ideas were for that. So anyway, as I finish all of my videos with the same thing, this is Mr. Mean signing off. And as remember, peace and hair grease. And as always, be nice.